La Soufrière volcano on the eastern Caribbean island of St. Vincent erupted early Friday, sending nearly a 6-mile-high plume of ash into the air hours after residents were ordered to evacuate the area, officials said. Photos and videos captured clouds of smoke coming out of the volcano about 8:40 a.m. as a thin layer of gray ash appeared to cover the surrounding area. Image, St. Vincent La Soufrière volcano. La Soufrière volcano erupting on April 9, 2021 in St. Vincent. The UE Seismic Research Center, AFP, Getty Images. Emergency management officials said the ash column was about 32,000 feet high and that the ash was headed east into the Atlantic Ocean. However, heavy ashfall also was reported in communities around the volcano, said Erusilla Joseph, director of the University of the West Indies Seismic Research Center. More explosions could occur, she said, adding that it was impossible to predict whether any potential upcoming explosions would be bigger or smaller than the first one. There were no immediate reports of casualties or injuries. The volcano last erupted in 1979, and a previous eruption in 1902 killed some 1,600 people. La Soufrière, standing at 3,864 feet above sea level, also erupted in 1718, 1812 and 1814, according to the Seismic Research Center.
Chateaubriand Mission Corner and proceed to the Chateaubriand Wharf where we will be evacuated, followed by the Coast Guard. Other vessels are on their way to North Leeward. We're giving way to persons who are disabled, physically challenged, those that are with children and the elderly as priority. This is not a drill, I repeat, this is not a drill.
Give. So you would have experienced the first one if you are there still. Just bear that in mind. If you insist in being there still, I would suggest that you move south. I think that's all I'll have to say on the season more. Any questions? Thank you very much.
In relation to the ash, thus far, the reports that you have received, how much of it has gone out to sea and how much you think has been on the land?
I think most of it would have gone out to sea. I'd out to sea or on the volcano itself. In terms of the landmass, most of it would be on the volcano itself. Dominantly is out to sea. And the stuff that I would find further south would be the finer material. The coarser material, the thicker deposits of ash would be on the volcano. One of the things that we're going to do as soon as we get a chance to go out and start actually quantifying that a bit, cutting ash and seeing how thick it is in different places. So we'll have a better idea of that as the day goes out. Well, assuming there's no more exposure, then we can actually go into that.
Okay. Any member of the media has any questions for Professor Robertson? Well, if there are none, so Richie, well, you can go back to your work, and we will keep in touch on an ongoing basis. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, and see you next time.
Thank you. I want to report broadly what has been taking place on the evacuation and all associated preparatory steps as we go forward, and as the evacuation plan is unfolding and being rolled out. Let's just recall that at 4:30 yesterday afternoon, I made the order for evacuation. I issued that order. So we had about 2.5 hours before nightfall. And the systems have been working, which we have, the NEMO systems. We have had some hiccups, particularly in respect of road transportation on the northeastern side. And that is partly understandable at the very hour itself. Julian Francis to ensure that the Braxa diesel fueling station at Rabaco is open so that people can get diesel, and to get Lully gas station to open so that people can get diesel and gasoline. And the movements, they were a little later. I'm talking about movements by minibuses were a little later than what happened, I've been advised, down on the western side, on the leeward side, where there has been a good movement by boat. Of course, because of the Atlantic side, we don't have the ports, the facilities there for, as we have on the western side, for vessels to go. The estimate which Julian gave me, and it wasn't disputed by Nemo when I raised it with Michelle this morning, about 4,500 persons would have moved. Of course, persons would have moved. I'm talking about moving by the buses, the minibuses, and by the boats, and by private transportation. And you had roughly the number which was given to me by Michelle this morning. She hadn't gotten all the tallies yet. Was in the region of 2,000 persons inside of shelters. There were 20 shelters operational. Some more than others, and some at a better level of preparedness than others. Some persons have gone into guest houses, hotels, and we want to see an expansion of that number. In fact, I've been in touch with Michelle Forbes about this at Nemo, and the Permanent Secretary in Tourism, who is responsible for this, because I'm very concerned. I want to see the elderly persons, the persons who have health problems, people who are shut-ins. I want to see them being placed in the guest houses and in hotels. It will cost more money, but I don't want the operation, and I made that clear, to be run as though it's a penny pinching NGO operation. And the hotels have indicated, the guest houses beforehand, that they have about, I was told, about 800 rooms, and I think we can call other persons who didn't indicate before to get more. But I'd like to see, as I said, the elderly persons go there, the people who are shut-ins, sometimes particular types of families, depending on the risk profile in relation to particular families. Because let's face it, being in a shelter, which is a school, even though you have a cot and you have a bed and your meals are coming, it's not home. And the quality of people's homes have improved markedly over the last 20 years. So that over the last 30 years, so that we don't want persons to experience conditions in the camps, in the shelters, which are really too onerous. We know that they would be onerous, the very nature of going in a shelter, clearly. So, and I would like to see if the hotel rooms, the guest house rooms be filled, and if there are others who would like to come on target, even not only on the mainland, but also in Beckway. We can transport them by the ferry. But the hotels have been asking that the persons who come into the hotels, that they be vaccinated and that they be tested, which is not unreasonable in all the circumstances, save and except those who may be medically assessed for one reason or the other as to not who should not be vaccinated. And I think that's having more in the hotel rooms and the guest houses would increase the bill, the cost of the evacuation. But we will have to deal with that day by day, sweet Jesus. And I want to have that message go out clearly to everyone. I don't want us to begin by young, strong, robust persons rushing to go into the hotel rooms when it is easier for them to maneuver inside of a shelter. So these, sometimes the NEMA will get it right and sometimes they may get it wrong in those, making those judgments, and persons on the ground would be making those judgments. Not me, not anybody high up in NEMA, but but in all of this, I want everybody to cooperate. I don't want us to get frustrated. I don't want us to panic. I want us to be disciplined. I want us to be orderly. No. In respect of the persons to move regionally, I've been in touch with this morning the Prime Minister of Grenada, the Prime Minister of Antigua, the Prime Minister of Dominica. When I leave here, I have to go and talk to the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. I didn't get him the Prime Minister of St. Kitts Nevis. But in the case of Dominica, Grenada, and Antigua, they would be ready certainly by about Sunday, maybe Monday, to receive persons. They naturally have to, places have been closed up, hotels for instance, or guest houses, and they have to clean them up. They have to put them in a state of readiness. And I want to say this, and every time when I've raised the issue of, well, tell me if I have to send resources to feed, and the immediate answer is, listen, don't worry yourself about that. It is very touching that there are families in Antigua and Grenada and St. Lucia and Dominica who are calling in and say that they will take people, if need be, into their homes. Amazing, eh? On this dangerous road to Jericho, we have the Good Samaritans. The chief medical officer would be identifying the persons who are already vaccinated so that we can get them on the ship. You see there's a ship in the harbor. 2 of them there now. Good. And the ships don't have enough personnel at the moment to keep people on the ships, but they have enough personnel to transport persons to these destinations. But Simone Kiza Beach tells me that what she wants to do is to, the chief medical officer, is that those who are vaccinated she can get them going there on the vessel, those on the ships, those who to go to particular destinations. If they choose to, this is a voluntary business. And those who are not yet vaccinated but who would be vaccinated, you wouldn't want to send them immediately after vaccination. You'd want to hold them, keep them for a day or two, because some persons upon vaccination, they develop an itch, a little wooziness in their head. You know how that is. Some people, so you would like to keep them there, so there's 2 days and so on. So there are some matters which have to be dealt with. And then the ships are doing, there's certain things we have to do with them. But I've spoken to one of the cruise lines leadership this morning, and I must tell you, the way in which people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and in ordinary people and in Grenada and in Dominica, St. Lucia and Antigua have responded to put people in their homes, strangers, bring tears to my eyes. I love this Caribbean. I want to thank the minibus operators who have thus participated, and I'm asking all of them to participate. I know your bus costs money and so on, and you'll be paid. Don't worry about that. I want you to help. And today, with the explosive eruption, I want you to help in moving the people and persons who have private vehicles to help also. And in some places, if you go into a shelter, you may not end up at the shelter permanently, because that might also be a clearing house for you to go to a hotel or a guest house, or maybe to go somewhere else. Of course, large numbers of persons still would have to stay in the shelters. But the more we get persons who can go into homes and who can go into the hotels and the guest houses, whether here or outside of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, for persons who may wish to go, that we should do so. Because this is not going to be like, why I'm anxious for that. This is not going to be simply like a hurricane, where it might be a 7-day business. In some cases, a 2-day business. Professor Robertson had indicated that depending on the extent of the explosion and the damage done, it could be 4 months. I spoke to the Vice Chancellor of the university. Well, he called me, Sir Hilary Beckles, and before that, Prime Minister Holness called me. And of course, same thing like the government of Trinidad and Tobago. They want to know what they can do and help. Well, I told in the case of Jamaica, I said, listen, we're going to be able to take care of the security and all these sort of things around here, and we would have enough supplies, and anything we needed would be nearby. So And I told them what is happening broadly with CARICOM, and just responded very well. And he said, listen, if you have some students, we have dorms at the university. We're talking about mature students like those at community college. So for instance, from those areas, the red zone or neighboring adjacent areas in the orange zone where there may be problems. To go and occupy dorms there, they can continue to study this by distance, because which is what they're doing in any case here. They have their device. And that is something which I would also explore. It would be a tremendous educational experience. And I want us in the region to use natural disasters like these to strengthen the bonds of regionalism. It's not that we are not taking care of our own. Clearly we are doing that. But it brings home that we are one Caribbean family. That is the way we are at the moment, and I just want to say again to all the persons involved in the evacuation exercise, I want to thank you for what you have been doing. I want to thank the minibus operators. I want to thank people who are working at the shelters, the teachers, everybody who is at NEMO, and so on and so forth. The nurses, all the health workers, everybody. And together we will do this well. And don't pay attention to the hiccups. And let us have no contention and confusion. The systems are working. We have had some hiccups here and there, which is understandable, and I had forewarned about that. But by and large, we are proceeding pretty well. And very much so I want to ease the discomfort of having to leave your home and having to go to a shelter. We know you have to do it because it's dangerous to stay in the red zone or in adjacent areas to the red zone. I want to thank the people who with the vessels. And there it is. As you see, members of the cabinet here, I have work to do. This business is not a continuing university seminar. I have to keep the public informed, but at the same time I have to balance everything. And very much so I want to get on to see how many more persons we can get into the hotels and the guest houses, and if we can get even more of those. I don't know if you have any questions. I'm sorry that I well up with tears on I regret I well up in tears when I think about the goodness of the heart of our people and our Caribbean brothers and sisters. Any questions? Well, we go on we continue to work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. That concludes our briefing here at Cabinet Room, the third such in the last 24 hours. We, of course, will keep you updated. We hope that you would stay with this.
This is TV6 News on the spot.
Please, mister, don't shoot us. We won't tell anyone. I think he's dead.
That's what you said before.
Come on, grab the bags.
Wait. What are you doing? We can't.
He's dead. He's not gonna use it.
Yeah, but it's not ours. We have to call the police.
We're not calling anybody. Now shut up.
The Jamaica Minister of Tourists, His Excellency Mr. Ed Bartlett, says Global Tourism Resilience Center stands ready to support St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Kingston, Jamaica, April 9, 2021. Minister of Tourism and Chair of the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center, GTRCMC, says the center stands ready to support the St. Vincent and the Grenadines in light of the potential eruption of the La Soufrière volcano in the island. The GTRCMC is ready to provide support to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines who are being negatively impacted by the threat of a volcanic eruption. The volatility of the situation has forced many to relocate and has created a level of uncertainty and fear, said Minister Bartlett. St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves yesterday declared a disaster alert which was prompted by a change in the eruptive activity at the La Soufrière volcano. The island is on red alert, meaning an eruption is imminent now. These types of disruptions form part of the fabric of humanity. While we cannot prevent them, we must work towards achieving greater preparedness and management of them so we can not only survive but thrive afterwards. This is where the GTRCMC comes in and is ready to assist with destination preparedness, management and recovery from disruptions and/or crises that affect tourism and threaten economies and livelihoods globally, added Minister Bartlett. The GTRCMC is specifically tasked with creating, producing and generating toolkits, guidelines and policies to assist with preparatory and recovery efforts of tourism stakeholders affected by climatic, pandemic, cybercrime and cyberterrorism related disruptions. This center is of particular importance in the region, because of the vulnerability of the Caribbean to climatic and other disruptions.